All right, glad I caught that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me just repeat. Luckily, that was only like a minute of talking. So, plan is back, but I was trying to get into how slash when are you taking your pre-workout, right? So, you got your Samsulic Select Blue Shark Gummy Hostility plus some Bloodshot. Solid combo. That's what I'm rocking at the moment. Right. Are you going to drink that right before you get to the gym, right when you walk in the door? I wouldn't recommend it. I would say, well, let me just kind of say what I do and then we can go from there. Pre-lift, before I even get in the car, that's when I just usually finish off the pre. So, one thing, I guess one more thing, I'll just break it down from the beginning of the process. Right. Scoop, actually a little bit of a scoop and a half, so I'm kind of in like the 400 milligram range of caffeine, plus full dosage of the stim-free pre, just because I obviously want to fucking maximize everything. And then I can't tell you how much water exactly, but it was way more than a shaker cup. I think a single shaker, that's not enough water, man. You got to remember, your pump is not magic. And what I'm trying to say there is it doesn't just appear out of thin air, right? Your muscle doesn't just inflate with the air around you that you're breathing. It's, specifically drawing blood, primarily water, from the rest of your body to whatever you're hitting. So if I've got so much blood floating around my system, by the time I finish this back day and my back is fully pumped, right? A pretty, I don't know the details, but there's probably a unit of measurement, like, you know, milliliters of blood per pound of muscle. So I'd say each of my biceps is maybe, I don't, I don't know, maybe a pound, maybe 2 pounds. I'm trying to imagine them as like steaks. But there's a certain amount of water and blood that's getting sucked from your body into that targeted muscle, right? That's the pump. So if you just take your pre-workout with as little water as possible, worst case scenario being you dry scoop it and then you only have like enough water to get it down, then you're just not working with as much fluids as you could to actually, make the pump happen. And that's kind of why well, not that specifically, but it kind of plays into a couple other things too. But that's why I'm always hyping up staying really hydrated. It's not, look, when I say anything fitness related, apart from, well, so here's the gist there. Weight training, even just moderate, frequent cardio, and a relatively high protein diet, getting your gram per pound of protein in. Those three things I can recommend to absolutely everyone. You will benefit longevity wise, just enjoyment of life wise. You'll probably get a little bit more muscle in your frame. You'll be able to eat more treats just because you'll be a more active dude, right? Those three things I'm going to hype up. And apart from that, everything is just kind of me saying, like, okay, I like doing this because it's going to improve my workout. Beyond those three things that are just going to, make your life better, that's what I'm talking about. So when I hype up being really hydrated, full of electrolytes, I'm not saying it just for fun, just because it's good for you. I'm saying it because I know that if I'm fully hydrated, and if when I drink my pre-workout, I've got like at least a liter of water with it, then those fluids are going to be put to good use. And not only am I going to have a better pump during the workout itself, but I'm just going to feel better. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you had a headache in the gym? Can you name it within a week? Within a month? I mean, I'm being serious. I can remember the last time I had one, and it sucked. It was a while ago because I've been pretty good about staying nice and hydrated. But it was a leg day, and at the bottom of every squat, it felt like my fucking brain was going to explode inside my skull. Because, obviously at the bottom of a squat, your blood pressure is kind of going to spike when you really brace that hard. And if you're not properly hydrated, then that's the number one cause of fucking headaches, man. Anybody who I know is constantly sipping on electrolytes and getting a good amount of, well, I say water, but it could just be fluids. You're never really going to catch me just sipping on straight water. Usually it's some kind of carb mix or something along those lines. But by keeping a proper amount of electrolytes and fluids in my fucking build, I just feel better, man. So it's going to affect your pump too. If you've got a fucking headache, it's going to be hard to go hard. You're going to be just going to be out of the zone. You're like, this sucks. Right? Come on. When it comes to the lifts, I guess it depends on how much of a nut you are about the gym. But if you're, a 1% obsessive, just mental freak about it, then it's going to be worth it to you to really try to optimize everything that's going to go into how you feel when you're in the gym. So being well fed, being well hydrated, being well rested, making sure you have a good chunk of time in your day so that you're not rushed for your workout. All these things are going to add up. And even if you got two guys in the gym who do the same kind of workout, moderately, pretty comparable intensity, same volume, same everything. Right? The guy who's getting a better amount of sleep, his diet is a little bit more on point, at least in the sense that he's getting in more protein, he's getting in more carbs, he's getting more calories, and he's well hydrated. You give enough time, the results are going to show. These little things, taking your creatine, that little 5% strength boost, more ATP production, making sure you got all your multivitamins and your fish oils and your pre-workouts, and getting good night's rest and eating your protein. Like, each one of those specifically is a small part of the picture, but together, those things are going to make pretty substantial changes to you and your trajectory compared to if you didn't do any of them at all. So that's my stance on the matter. But enough of this random chat. Back. What am I gonna do? I don't freaking know. There's all sorts of back machines in here, and I like most of them. So I'll just kind of bounce around. There's a pull down, there's a cable row, there's some back machines, plate loaded hammer strength, tons of dumbbells, tons of everything. So I'll just kind of get in there, warm up, and see what feels good. Honestly, my back training is pretty... I do a lot of different movements, kind of seemingly arbitrarily, like I just jump around. But it fits the sort of outer workout skeleton, which is just do some rows, do some pull downs, make the sets hard, do a couple drop sets, maybe do a superset, fatigue the whole back, pump it all up, do a lat spread at the end of it, and then get back in the car and eat. When it comes to progressive overload, I think that it's an incredible method, right? It would make sense. If you're constantly pushing yourself, then you're going to get used to the stimulus. You're going to get used to the weight that you're using. You're going to get stronger. So over time, you're going to need more intensity, more weight, more everything, more stimulus to continue to make gains, But I don't think you have to force it like that, right? If you were to go into the gym and think to yourself, okay, I did 200 pounds on the lat pull down for 10 good reps and a couple partials last week. Now I want to do 205. I mean, nothing wrong with that approach. Over time, you are going to lift more weights. But I think it's a little bit of a simpler approach to, every time you go up to a set or a machine, say to yourself, okay, I can probably do X weight for 10 reps. I think I could do the 220 for 10. And as long as you keep doing hard sets like that, then over time you just will be progressively overloading, because those sets will gradually get easier as you do them. And then to have a really good set, right, the responsibility kind of lies on you to actually push yourself. But over time, you're just going to get stronger. You're going to be using heavier weights. So when I see somebody tracking their stuff in a little notebook, Not hating on it. I'm just saying that's not how I like going about it. So I'm not constantly thinking, okay, I did this weight last week, I'm going to do this weight again. I'm just thinking, okay, I'm going to go as heavy as I can for 10 or so good reps plus partials. Let's hit it. And then that weight ends up being more and more over time. If you sort of, if you can follow my logic there. But looks like an empty gym. Let's park and get started. I opened up my gym bag, and what do I find inside? Actually, the better question is, what don't I find inside? Straps. Strap skis are gone. Not sure where I left them. I'm a very strong advocate for straps during your back day. It's going to help you from keeping your biceps and your forearms out of the equation, such that you can actually really just get your lats going. But not the end of the world. I think you're a little bit too much of a prima donna if you forget your straps and then you're like, I can't do my back day. I can't do it. I mean, come on, right? Just deal with it. So instead of my normal approach, which is typically, start with something heavy, a heavy pull down, a heavy row, and then maybe save some lighter squeezing sets for the end of the lift, I think I'm going to try it backwards today. So this is something I've kind of been doing for triceps, which I really like. I don't know if you can really relate to this, but for me, once my triceps are fully pumped, it's just something about it. Like I can't really fully straighten my arm. Like when I'm doing a push down with a rope, I can only get to like here or so, and I just don't want to flex any further. But when I'm fresh, when I'm cold and I'm not pumped, I can really squeeze extra hard with a rope or with a push down or with whatever else. So same thing kind of goes for lats. Once I'm fully pumped up, I can only really get so far. My arm literally runs into my lat, and it's kind of cutting my range of motion down. So instead of starting with a normal pull down or row, I'm going to start with single arm pullovers. I'm pretty light, 30 pounds on the cable. And what I'm really focusing on is like, if I was doing a normal pull down or pull over with like a rope, I'd get to maybe here. This is like the max range of motion. Hands on hips. But with single arm, apart from the fact that I just like the way it feels, I can pull back even deeper. So rather than just like good stretch, getting up to here, when I do one at a time, I can pull almost like behind my back. Now, whether or not that's like scientifically proven more effective or not, whatever. All I know is when I do it with moderate weight, moderate to light, and I really pull back all the way as far as I can, even just doing the motion here with no weight is already giving me a little bit of a burning sensation in my kind of lower lats. If you think if your back looks like this, kind of a triangle, I'm talking about right here in the middle, right where it's kind of coming in contact with the Christmas tree. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about there, then whatever. But let's start with one here. I might just do one. I might do a couple. I kind of have to go by feel. So if it feels sweet, I could do 3 more. If it feels like shit, I'll just move on. Okay. Fire. Yeah. One more at least. Oh my God. 5. Oh my God. 5. Oh. One more. This is definitely a flexed bias movement. Like, I'm not feeling it way up here in a stretch position like I would in a pull down. I'm really just emphasizing that burn at the bottom. 1 or 2 more. I like this a lot. Goodness. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. I think that's enough there. Even just after 3 sets of that, I already feel like my lats are pumped to hell. I think let's move on to some kind of either row or pull down. I think this T-bar row should be a pretty good next movement. So before I hit it, when it comes to the styles of sets that you're doing in your workout, I think most of your volume should be straight sets. You know, pick a weight, burn out to failure, rack it. For, 10, 20 reps. Around that range is cool. But I think people can overcomplicate it a little. Like, I think a whole workout of drop sets is too much. A whole workout of like supersets, I think it might be a little too much, like just unnecessarily. But one set, which I will never turn down, is a set with assisted reps at the end. I kind of wish I came in here earlier because this movement is perfect for assisted reps. Like, if I could have a dude sit here and after I do my first 10 reps or whatever, and he can notice that I can't pull it to my max height, then just a little inch of help, I love it. But don't have that at my disposal, so straight set it is. I might do a rest pause. So maybe I'll do like X number of reps, hit failure, rack it, take 20 seconds of breaths, and then burn out with a few more reps. I think that'll be good. So let's just pick a song to do it. And this is a weight which I can handle pretty responsibly. So I'm going to make sure I seriously squeeze at the top. This isn't a set where I just throw the weight around. I am going to be a little bit methodical with the first reps, at least when I can actually control the weight. Once I get fatigued enough where I can't hold it at the top, then I'm okay with a little bit of drop sets Or I mean with a little bit of partial reps, form getting a little bit sloppier. Not to the point of craziness, but you get what I'm saying. You know, a couple partials, any means necessary. These reps will be a little more brutish. Okay. I think one more just like that should be pretty good. Couple of solid deep breaths, and then time for the hard part. Oh my God. Okay. I think that's enough here. Let's do a pull down. Okay, so a little bit of foreshadowing. I think I already have the finisher movement set up, but some pull downs first. This back day has been a little bit different for me. I think I'm using the weight very efficiently today. Like I haven't really thrown around anything crazy, but pump and fatigue wise, this is pretty cool. And that would make sense. I mean, you got to think there's definitely a limit. Like that's why I don't do deadlifts, because I need to do my best Mike Isertal impression here. The stimulus to fatigue ratio isn't desirable, right? If I do 3 crazy sets of deadlifts, I don't know what I could do. I haven't deadlifted in years, but sure, my back would probably be pretty pumped at the end of it, but my glutes would be firing, my hamstring would be firing, and I'd just be out of breath like a fucking, well, like I just ran a mile. I'm not even sure, I don't think I even could run a mile. So you see what I'm saying there? So I think this is, I don't want to say a metamorphosis. This is shit I've kind of always known, but over time, I think I'm becoming a little bit more of a refined lifter, right? I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm not so attached to the weight. Obviously, I've still got ego lifter in my heart, even if my brain thinks otherwise. That's probably why I still like curling 75s in the 80s and trying to bench like 4 plates, apparently like a fool, and hurting myself. So I think there's a point to going heavy, and you are going to get gains from that kind of stimulus, but balancing it out is probably a bit better for longevity. And this is shit I know. I'm just trying to, we all know when it's, you know, something's good for you to do. We all know it's good for you to do homework, to fucking finish your shit on time. But sometimes putting it into practice is a little bit tricky. So either way, no more chatting. Pull downs, moderate weight. I'm not talking the whole stack. I'm talking 200, squeeze hard, maybe do a drop set, and then maybe, obviously I'm gonna do at least one set, maybe two, maybe three, who's to say, right? Again, I'm gonna decide that based on how this first set feels. Oh, let's do drop sets back. Wide grip for this one. Oh my God. There. Let's leave it at that. That doesn't feel super good. Obviously a good set, but no need to do another one. Let's move on. We're nearly done. I think this is definitely going to be the last, maybe set or two. If the first set is really good, and I feel like after the end of it, I'm like, oh yeah, we're done. And that's like based on my, like how fatigued I feel, how pumped I feel, how hard I push the set. But basic gist, I'm going to say either, oh, that was enough, let's go check the pump, or let's do one more. But this has been my favorite finisher for probably the past month, 2 months. So, of course, pull downs, or no, pullovers for the first few sets, lat focused, pretty much only feeling my lats. Rows for the second two, more upper back, one set of pull downs, lats again. So at the end of back, I like the idea of sort of doing a movement that hits my whole back in its entirety. So I could do like I'd be fine with a set of pull downs and then immediately superset with a set of rows. Obviously I'd be kind of burnt out for that set, but at the end of it, my lats would be destroyed, so would my mid back. But I kind of like this sort of two-phase pull. Not even a pull, it's like a pull down slash row. So bench here, 45 degrees. I got a bumper plate and a 25 as spacers because since the weight is kind of, pulling me this way and this bench is on carpet, as soon as I grab the stack, it's just going to pull the bench. So you kind of have to add a spacer. But the first stage of the movement is up here. So real big stretch on the lats. And by leaning forward, since the cable's up there kind of above my head, this is like the stretch you'd feel in a pull down. But as I come back, I don't just sit here. I'm gonna lean back into it as well. So instead of just a normal pull down, it's like pull downs, stretch, and then a complete contraction back here. So that's just how I like it. Definitely worth trying. If you haven't done this before, I would recommend it. Usually I don't love jerry rigging shit. Like for the most part, I think you're good enough using what's available. Like you don't need to set up a really crazy fancy like preacher curl for dumbbells if you could just do the preacher bench with a dumbbell. I guess that's not a really good example, but usually the more complicated the setup, I don't think it's worth it. But something like this, I do stand behind pretty strongly. So 1 or 2 here, then lat spreads inbound. Ideally, so wide that it doesn't even fit in the frame of the camera. Ugh. Okay. One more. Okay. All right. How'd that one look? Yeah. If I had a dude helping me with some partials at the end, or some assisted reps, that would be nice. But still, oh my God, yeah, fuck. Even just flexing a little, they're burning. Let's check this shit out. Very satisfied with this lift so far, and I know the pump will be the icing on the cake. Okay, nothing beats a Wednesday night, or, well, technically Thursday morning lift, and especially not a diabolical back pump. Let me get the exposure down just a touch. There we go. So how do we look through the shirt? I'm sure you got a little bit of a glimpse on that last set of rows, but I don't have eyes in the, well, I don't have a set of third-person eyes to see myself like that. So you tell me. Oh. Oh my God. Hey. You know, honestly, I don't feel as pumped as ever, but it does feel pretty good. Sometimes it just kind of fluctuates a little bit, but I'm definitely going to be smiling my ass off when I get this shirt off, without a doubt. Come on. Oh yeah. Whew. So if you'll notice, no direct trap work. That's not by accident. I mean, look at them. They're already fucking poking up into my mid-neck, right? They're good enough. And what I really want is lats that fucking jump out. Like, you see the space between my forearm and my lat? I want that to disappear. I want that to be all lats. Not that that's possible, but come on, dream big. Oh. Oh. I feel pretty fucking round. Oh. I can kind of see my reflection through the door's glass. So hopefully this is a nice and symmetrical back double by. Oh. Whew. So you tell me. I mean, we got some lats going, mid traps, rhomboids, rear delts, everything you can ask for. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a pretty good back day. Actually, let me get in the limelight a little better for that one. No. Oh my goodness. Let's take a seat. Let's take a seat and think if there's anything cool to discuss. You know what really gets me? I hate it. Oh, oh my goodness. It'll be like a comment thread on some lifter video or whatever. And it's like, should you really be training that hard? You're not going to be able to recover. Should I really do my sets that hard? What? Are you serious? I can't even fathom that. Like, it's so, oh my God, like, what's the word I'm trying to think of here? it's so pretentious to even think that you can push yourself to the point where you're even having to worry about that kind of stuff. You know, like, how easy do you think it is to train so hard that you couldn't recover and come back tomorrow? Now, look, I'm not saying that, like, if you're a beginner, you're not going to feel like you just fucking got hit by a bus after your first week of seriously hard weight training. But are you a beginner? More than likely, you've been doing this shit for a while. You've been doing this shit for years, depending on, well, how long you've been doing it. I, in no way do I think that should even cross your mind. Like, let me give you a scenario. I think it would give me better results if I toned back on the intensity of my training. Are you insane? Look, man, you can do whatever you want. I'm not your dad. But no one has ever gotten any results thinking, okay, I probably shouldn't go that hard. I probably shouldn't put so much effort into this. Dude, it's getting me riled up just thinking about these comments. That is fucking blasphemy. Oh, ideally, that's not any of you guys. Oh my goodness. You give me the heebie-jeebies right now just thinking about it. But enough of that. Main idea, go as hard as you can all the fucking time, right? You are far better off trying to push it like that than you are saying, I'll make this an easy day. If you have the majority of lifts where you say, oh, I'm going to make this an easy day. Look, man, gains will not come. You could come into the gym every fucking day for 10 years. And if every time you say, oh, I'm going to take it easy, look, you're going to stay fit, which is cool. Obviously, I want everybody to get in the gym and even just do a little bit. Like, not even a legit routine. If you just took a normal Joe, had him put on sweatpants and a t-shirt and come in and just move some weights around, he's going to see some result. He's going to see benefits. He's going to be better than the dude not doing that. But I'm talking to the people who are actually interested in long-term progress. And if in your mind you think you want to put a limiter on your training intensity, I was about to say you may as well just stay home and leave the equipment open for somebody who really wants to use it. I don't know if I really mean that, but you get what I'm saying, right? Push it. But let's get out of here. Let's get in the car and go home. There we go. Sweet. Good lift. I'd call that a perfect ender to a day as a lifter. So now I just gotta go home and eat a little more food and chill, which is not a bad case scenario. Honestly, I might do an Epsom bath. I like them. I feel like I just said this a couple days ago, but we've got like a water tank. We don't have like an electric water heater. So by the time the bath fills up halfway, that's all the hot water. And I don't want to take a lukewarm bath. I want that shit to be hot. So maybe I'll save that for next time. But yeah, I really like those first few sets of the fresh squeezing pullovers. Usually I save those for the end, right? Because I kind of think of it as like a light squeezing movement. I'm really just trying to finish off the workout. But by flipping it backwards, saving some more kind of compoundy looking rows for the end of the lift, and then doing those isolation kind of movements first, that is kind of cool, right? It makes sense. If you're doing legs, you might want to squat first because that's when you're nice and strong. And if you've done that for a while, nothing wrong with it. But it is pretty fucking cool to be able to, what does it say? Oh, yeah, to squat or do some type of leg press with a quad pump, right? From doing like maybe 3 or 4 sets of leg extensions first. Ooh, that I like. So sometimes it's good to flip your workout on its head. Instead of starting off chest with really heavy pressing, maybe start off with cable presses, maybe pec deck. Usually I'm more of a heavy pressing first kind of guy, but maybe I need to chill out on that and have a bit more of an open mind, you know. But no matter what you do, no matter if you want to do squats first or leg extensions or rows or pull downs or pullovers or whatever, as long as all of your working sets are hard and you really push yourself, then it's gonna be fucking relatively difficult to have a bad lift. If every set that you do, you really push it and you really exert yourself to the point where you know, like, oh, it still fucking burns. Shit. Right. Come on. Is that ever going to be a bad scenario? Are you ever going to finish a set after, in your mind, having an inner monologue of, okay, come on, 5 more. You get 5 more there. No, come on, 10 more. And then you do like 3 super hard reps before you have to rack it. That's how it should be done. I like having a relatively chill mentality, in the sense of, I want to listen to my music, be in the zone, not have any crazy thoughts when I'm lifting. Right, I just want to focus on what I'm doing. But during the sets themselves, it's not in your worst interest to try to get a bit animalistic and just try to enjoy the burn. Right? Dorian Yates put it pretty well. He wants to be the mass. He wants to exert mastery over the pain of of his sets. I don't know if that's the exact quote, but you get the gist. It's pretty fucking badass. We've all been there doing a set of moderately light dumbbell curls, or that's a pretty good example. Right? We've all done moderately light dumbbell curls. Your biceps are starting to burn, and then you racked it a little early. Sure, it was a good set. Sure, you pushed yourself, but could you have done 10 more reps if you really wanted it? I would say yes. So that's part of the reason why sometimes with more lightweight squeezing style sets, I don't like to get a rep goal in my head, because what happens is, like, if I'm doing a set of dumbbell preachers or something, or whatever, it could be whatever, and in my mind I'm like, okay, I want to get 20 reps. Then by the time I get 20, by the time I get those 20, then in a way I've kind of already satisfied a goal that I've had in my mind for the set. So if you've got in your mind like 20 reps, that would be good. By the time you get to 20, you're probably going to be pretty inclined to just rack it and say, we're done. I had a goal in my mind, I hit it. So with sets where I kind of do one arm at a time, of course I'm going to count the reps, because I want to match the reps on both sides so I don't get a muscle imbalance. But let's say I'm doing light dumbbell curls, alternating. Some of the best sets that I've done like that haven't been the ones where I'm like 18, 19. It's just the ones where I'm like, well, I do kind of count in a way, but in my mind I'm not saying a number. Like, what'll happen is I get to 10 or so, and then once it really starts burning, I try not to actually count numbers. In my mind, I just kind of try to say, okay, rep, like that, just so I don't get that little, false, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Maybe end of set fallacy, right? Because if I hit 20 and I re-rack it and I know I had 10 more, that's a fucking loser feeling. Come on. You don't want to leave the gym like that. Nobody who's got an itch for some serious progress wants to leave the gym like that, for fucking sure. So, cardio in the morning, arms tomorrow. Love a good arm day. And then that's fucking it, man. I'm about to go back to school. I'm not particularly excited about the lecture part, but it is going to be fun to see that whole gym crew. That is something that's nice. Out of all the gyms I've gone to, the tightest knit group has been at the rec center at school. So if that's you, make sure you enjoy it, because before long, everybody that you're going to school with is going to fucking disperse to different states or jobs or whatever. Unless you keep in touch, man, you're just never going to see them again. that's a situation you don't know what you've got until you lose it. So make sure you enjoy it. I think I enjoy it a little bit too much. I'm kind of selfish. I sort of distract some of my buddies while they're lifting. For me, I'm a very what's the word I'm trying to think of? I'm very stingy with my time in a way. Like during my workout, when I'm actually in between working sets, I'll do a little chatter, but I'm not sitting and talking for more than a minute or so. Right? Maybe a minute of banter, and then, all right, I gotta hit my set. You know. But when I'm done working out, if I, especially when I bring a shake or some food to the gym, I just kind of end up, I just end up loitering around and distracting all my buddies who are still lifting, to the point where, like, I want to keep talking to them, but I end up saying, like, okay, we've been talking for like 2 minutes, do a set. Like, I tell them to hit one because the last thing I want to do is intrude on their lift. So, if you know anybody who's real chattery, fuck, man, I don't know what to tell you. You got to find a way to, goddamn family of deer right on the side of the road. You got to find a way to pull away and do your working set. You know that nobody means it, but if somebody's gonna grab you for like more than 5 minutes between sets, and you're kind of like taking a few steps away, but they're not slowing down on their topic at all. Look, man, that is going to affect the pump. You know, so don't be too afraid to say, "All right, let me hit my set. I'll be back in a second." You know, I need to work on that skill. I end up getting lassoed into interesting conversations for longer than I would desire sometimes. Oof. Post workout, that's when I love chatting. Pre and intra workout, I want to get some business done. So that's I'm sure you can relate to that a little bit. And hopefully, if you're the guy who's chatting and you know you're distracting people a little bit too much, maybe you gotta chill out just a little. But home, food, drinks, sleep, cardio, more food, arms, and then just repeating the process. Keep the grindstone grinding, as it were. So that's it, man. Solid back day. I will fucking see you next time.